Stephen Fenech from Tech Guide with you again, and today we're talking about smartphones. Now, smartphones are things we talk about all the time, we review them all the time on Tech Guide, and a lot of people ask for our advice. They don't have thousands of dollars to spend most of the time, so they're always looking for a great phone with good features that's affordably priced. Well, we thought we'd bring just that to you today with this video. We're going to look at 6 of the best smartphones priced under $500. Not everyone has lots of money to spend on a phone, which is why we've decided to gather together 6 of the latest smartphones. Here they are. We've got brands from Samsung, we've got an Oppo, Motorola, a couple of Alcatels, and a Realme 6. So all under $500, some even under $200. So not going to break the bank. Lots of great features. They all have good cameras. They're really nicely designed, really big screens as well. So good battery life also. They have all of those features on board. They're the exact features that customers are looking for. They're the tentpole features that we look at before making a decision on buying a new smartphone. So we're going to take a look at each of these phones now individually. The first phone we're looking at is from Alcatel. It's the Alcatel 3L. Now, Alcatel has made a habit of creating devices that offer great features but at an affordable price. They've proven you don't have to spend big money to buy a decent smartphone. Let's take a look at the phone right here. It's got a 6.22 inch screen. It's got a mini notch at the top for the front-facing camera. It also has an octa-core processor. It also has a fingerprint reader on the back, so ease of security there. But take a look at the camera. Now, this is a device that costs just 199 Australian dollars. So you're getting a lot of these features plus that great camera. The camera is actually, there's 3 cameras in the system, and this is under $200, remember. It's a 48 megapixel artificial intelligence wide camera. There's a 5 megapixel super wide and also a 2 megapixel macro. Let's have a look at the quality of the photos that it offers. Now, I've taken the same photo for all of the cameras we're looking at. I use the same spot to use all 6 of the cameras we're looking at today, and I've used them to shoot the same scene. So here's the first from Alcatel. This is a wide shot. Pretty nice colors there. This is a shot of Maroubra Beach. But then we tested out we tried a portrait mode. So this is the trig point out at Maroubra. That's in the foreground. Nice blurring of the background as well. So pretty good quality. I'm really impressed. This is a $200 phone giving you decent quality here. On the macro side as well, not too bad. There is a dedicated macro camera, but it doesn't give too bad a result. But the phone is actually nicely designed, pretty decent design here. The 3 camera system, there's your fingerprint reader, 6.22 inch screen. Also has a 4,000 milliamp hour battery as well. So you're going to get a lot of life out of this. I've been using this for my review, and this easily lasted a day and a half for me. But design, I'm pretty impressed with this as well. Alcatel, once again, showing that you don't have to spend big money for a decent smartphone. That's the Alcatel 3L, priced at $199. Next up, we're looking at the Oppo A91. Now, this is a $499 phone. It has a 6.4 inch full HD display. It's actually an AMOLED display, which is why it's slightly more expensive. It has the notch at the top here. Also has a front-facing 16 megapixel camera, which is pretty impressive. It has a 4,025 milliamp hour battery, so it's 4,025 milliamp hours, powered by an octa-core processor. It also has another feature that makes this a little bit more expensive than your other devices. It also has an in-screen fingerprint reader that works really quickly. So that's like a premium feature that you're getting here, but for $499. So you're still getting that for under $500. But let's take a look at the camera. And what we have here, we actually have a 4-camera system. There's a 48 megapixel ultra wide. There's an 8 megapixel and two 2 megapixel cameras as well, some for depth sensing, some for portrait. It does have the front 16 megapixel camera as well. Now let's take a look at its photos. So these are the same photos we took with all the other cameras. These are actually quite nice. I really like the quality that you get here with these great beach shots. The colors, the blues and the greens are really punchy there. But let's take a look at its effort at a portrait. This is the portrait, and a pretty good background blurring with this one as well. Really nice color in the foreground object. Still lovely blues in the sky. I really rate this camera. I quite like it. Now let's have a look at the macro. Macro effort also pretty good. It's pretty sharp, not too blurry. So you're getting an all-round decent result. The Oppo A91. Not a bad package. You are paying slightly more. It is still under $500 though, but only by $1. $499 for the Oppo A91. Next up, we're taking a look at the Samsung A31. Now this is the Galaxy A series of phones. This is their more affordable range, so not to be confused with the Galaxy S range, which is their flagship product. The Galaxy A31 though still packs in a lot of features, including a 6.4 inch screen, really nicely designed as well. We'll get back to the cameras in a second, but pretty slick design. It does have a front 20 megapixel camera, which is very impressive, but it has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. So you're getting up to 2 days of battery life. It also has an in-screen fingerprint reader. That's again what makes this a little bit more expensive. This is $499 as well. Still under $500 though. But I think for what you're getting, this is a pretty nicely designed phone. But I think what everyone's going to be looking for is this great camera system. It does have a 4-camera system, a quad camera system, 48 megapixel wide, 8 megapixel ultra wide, a 5 megapixel depth camera, and also a 5 megapixel macro camera. Let's take a look at the images that the Samsung has captured. And I think probably of the bunch here, the colors on these photos look really impressive. Look at the blue of the ocean, the blue of the sky, the green grass. They really pop. So no surprise that the Samsung camera does really well. Let's take a look at the portrait. This was, I don't know whether I got the setting wrong, but you see that the foreground object is in focus. And I know that's supposed to be a person, but it has worked with other cameras. But the background, I didn't get quite the blur that I was looking for. I think maybe if I had have tried a couple more, I might have got a better portrait shot here, but I did have 5 other cameras I had to take a photo with. Let's also check out the macro image. Again, not too bad, a better result on some other cameras. So I think overall though, the Samsung camera, still very impressive. You are getting that really nice Super AMOLED display as well, in-screen fingerprint reader. So all those premium features in a phone that's under $500. That's the Samsung A31. Next up, we're looking at the Realme 6. This is a $469 phone, and Realme is actually a sub-brand of Oppo. So they no doubt would share some technology. We did look at an Oppo phone earlier. This is slightly cheaper. This is $469, but it does have a larger 6.5 inch full HD plus display. It does have a hole punch. You might not be able to see it clearly there. So hole punch for the front facing camera. The front facing camera is actually 16 megapixel. It does also have a 4,300 milliamp hour battery. So that's pretty impressive for a phone of this price to have that kind of power. So it is going to power you through the day rather easily. You're also looking at an in-screen fingerprint reader. It does also have face unlock. There's a 90.5% screen to body ratio as well. The other feature that I find interesting is that it has a 3-card slot. So it's got a slot for 2 SIM cards, but also for a memory card. But that's a handy feature. But I think what you're going to be impressed with is also its 4-camera its 4-camera system. It's got a 64 megapixel primary lens. It has an 8 megapixel ultra wide. It also has a black and white portrait lens and a 4 centimeter macro lens. And let's check out its photos. I'm really impressed here again. These are pretty punchy photos from that 64 megapixel, I should say, primary camera. You'd expect a lot of light to be coming through there. Let's check out the portrait, how it went with the portrait. And again, not too much background blur like we achieved with the others, but still foreground nicely in focus. Background, while not blurred, it's still pretty clear. The colors are pretty punchy as well. And on the macro side, not too bad, a little bit of blur there. I think we may have needed, if we had a bit more time to adjust our focal length there by moving the camera a bit closer or even further back, actually, we might have got a better photo. But overall, I think Realme is a real challenger brand here in Australia, and as being a sub-brand of Oppo, they do have some credentials. The phones are available to buy online and appear to be doing pretty well, but overall, for $469, the Realme 6 offers pretty decent features. Next on the list is the Moto G8. Now this is only $329 and does have a lot of interesting features, including that hole punch, so no notch, but a hole punch you can see right here in the top left corner for its front 8 megapixel camera. It's a 6.4 inch Max Vision HD Plus display, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It has an octa-core processor. It also has a fingerprint reader for added security. The triple camera system has a 16 megapixel main artificial intelligence camera, an 8 megapixel ultra wide, and a 2 megapixel macro, as well as a 4 centimeter macro lens which has laser auto focus. So how did the images turn out? Let's check it out. Pictures are not too bad, a little bit washed out in parts. The green seemed pretty good and the blues seem to be a little bit overcorrected, a little bit too blue, a little bit more sort of cartoonish looking, but not a deal breaker, not too bad. The portrait actually did pretty well. I quite like the foreground in focus, the background slightly out of focus, not as much as other pictures that we've been showing today. But again, I think if there's a person standing there instead of this trig point, you'd be pretty pleased with that result. Pretty sharp and pretty in focus. Now this did have a macro lens as well, and it probably, I reckon, had probably the best macro picture of the bunch today. So the macro lens and that laser focus really doing well. So that's the Moto G8. It's one of the more affordable, so $329, and from a reputable company like Motorola. The last phone we're looking at today is another Alcatel, but I thought I had to include it because this is the Alcatel One V, and it's only priced at $149, and for that you get a nice 6.2 inch HD Plus display, 4,000 milliamp hour battery. It also has a fingerprint sensor on the back, and it has a twin camera system, 13 megapixel and 5 megapixel. Also has a front 5 megapixel camera. It also has this nice feathered design. I wonder if you can see that, catch that in the light. It does have these nice ridges on the back here. Adds to not only the look of the phone, but also helps you get a great grip. But for $149, I think you can't go wrong. Plenty of features here. The camera, twin camera system, as I already mentioned, 13 megapixel and 5 megapixel. Let's take a look at its photos. And I think we sort of washed out a little bit of the sky. I think the green is a bit too pronounced. It's really sort of tried to optimize the grass a little over saturation. As we can see also with the ocean, it's probably overcorrected that as well. But look, not a bad shot though from a camera on a phone that costs $149. Now here's its portrait effort, which I think is one of the best of the 6 that I've shown you today. The background, slight blur, foreground, nice and sharp. Colors are really good, probably better than that beach shot I showed you earlier. The blues and greens, probably a little bit more natural, not as saturated as the previous photo that I showed you. And here is its macro effort, which for a $149 camera, pretty good result. So the camera is definitely not going to let you down here. The Alcatel One V, $149. At that price, you can't go wrong. So there are 6 smartphones that are priced under 500 Australian dollars. You don't have to spend thousands to get a decent smartphone. And all of those smartphones are brand new, have just been recently released onto the market. So for under $500, I think we've shown you that you get a decent camera, you get a good screen size, and also decent battery life. They're the things customers are looking for. We're going to be reviewing each of those devices on our Tech Guide website. So check them out. And thanks for watching.